it's Adam Hoge. And from The Athletic, it's Adam Jahns.
It's one of the craziest games that I've covered live. That crazy for me.
I feel like, how many times a season do we say that?
Yeah, but this one,
I know.
In the red zone.
I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm just like, how does this franchise keep doing that?
Anyway, who cares?
Here they are, the Adams, Hoge Jahns.
What is up? Welcome in, Hoge Jahns with you. A little bit of a role reversal here as I am in Detroit. I feel like I need to show proof.
There she is. Beautiful Ford Field. In a Jeff Joniak disregarded water bottle.
That probably is his. Yeah, you're probably right. They use a lot of tape in here. What are they using all this tape for? Come on, Joniak. But yes, Adam Hoge, Adam Jahns with you. And wow, this was something today. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns. You can read Johnsy on The Athletic, theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns, where you go to subscribe and catch me, allchgo.com. This will be my first true post-game column of the year. Go read
it. you picked a good one there to cover.
Yeah.
Adam Hoge. Happy New Year to you.
Right? Everything about this trip to Detroit, from the fact it's January in Detroit to the I did the airport hotel thing, where it's in the terminal.
Yeah.
Turns out there's two terminals and they're not connected, so you still have to take a bus. Which defeats the whole damn purpose. That was cool.
Rookie mistake.
Maybe. Pat Finley had the same thing. I think this was a veteran mistake.
Good. Blame our friend Pat Finley. Do it.
Lots of things to blame today with the Chicago Bears. This was just bad. I mean, I don't know. I still don't think we're in position to really make too big of a deal with it, but I'll tell you where I'm going with my post game angle, which you can read. But I just think it's kind of a reminder of how much work there is still left to do. Is that fair? There's just sort of seems to be, and it even, I think, is related to this massive idea today that just flooded social media that just take Justin Fields out, don't get him hurt. And I'm like, this is a game he should be playing well in. These are valuable reps. And I'm not panicking about Justin Fields in any way, but he's still far from proven as a passer, and you still have to develop him. So I think there's a lot of work that is left to be done. And today it showed, certainly on the field.
I think if you're going to make a big deal about anything, it would be an injury to Justin Fields. That is the only thing to make a big deal out of, because you're looking at a defense with two starters playing right now for next year, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Just two.
Yeah.
An offensive line that is down to its third string right guard, a right tackle that wasn't the starter to begin this season. It's everything is, it's in flux. It is what it is. I was of the opinion, especially sometimes it's different, when you get to see the replays in slow motion over and over and over again. A lot of those hits that Justin Fields was taking in the first half were just awkward. He was getting bent backward, even his 60-yard run. He got up, shaken up, did he not? After that, he got stretched out once the Bears reached the sideline. Things didn't seem right. I even thought he looked a step slower than his usual self with the burst there. Something was off. At some point, I know he's got to play. But at what point is there value in garbage time reps? Is my question. Those reps are not the same as a true 2-minute situation. They're just not.
Yeah, I agree. And the Lions had a lot of backups in that last drive too, that still the Bears couldn't do anything on. I just think it's right now, if you're going to talk about the secondary and you're going to make excuses for how Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon play, and you're like, well, they don't have there's no pressure. How are you supposed to play well if there's no pressure? And I get it. The same thing on the offense though, John's you have pieces here you're trying to evaluate. This was as healthy as they've been on offense in weeks. And how are you supposed to evaluate those pieces if you just take the quarterback out of the game? I think
well, how are you supposed to evaluate the quarterback? We're not even putting the receiver in the game.
Well, are you talking about Claypool?
Yes.
Well, this is a whole nother thing. I think it's a totally separate topic.
Isn't that part of the things you want to evaluate?
This Claypool
Like, haven't we seen enough? Like, haven't the Bears seen enough of Justin Fields throwing the St. Brown, Dante Pettis at this point? A full
Sure,
16-game
yeah.
season has been completed. We know what they are. So
Yeah, I agree.
It's Claypool, right? And he barely played. So I'm
well, and N'Keal Harry, and they were both. Claypool played more in the second half.
Harry's been a healthy scratch this season.
Well, I agree, but I don't know if Claypool's been a healthy scratch, but
he's been hurt.
Yeah, they were both out there though in the second half. I mean, that's my point. The Bears were trying to get some type of evaluation there. It just wasn't going well. I don't know. I think if you have, it's also easier for us to say, if you have a quarterback down there on the field who's insisting on playing, who's trying to show his teammates, that he's going to play through thick and thin no matter what to the end of the game, and that's important to him. And I thought Justin showed a hell of a lot of leadership post-game too, with kind of trying to spin things positive. He wasn't down on himself. And then specifically with the question that I'll give Kevin Fishbane all the credit in the world that he asked about Claypool's blow up on the sideline, which I'll be honest with you, I didn't even see. It wasn't on TV, right?
Yeah, Kevin saw it the whole way. He was texting me about it from the get-go.
Yeah, Kevin saw it, asked Justin about it, and Justin gave a great answer. In fact, it's probably worth bringing up here if I pull it up because just give me a second here because I know he tweeted out the whole thing. It's kind of a lengthy answer, but he said, let's see. It's great to have emotion in the game. This was Justin Fields on Chase Claypool. It's great to have emotion in the game, but you have to know how to control it. You can't let it come out like that because at the end of the day, that's not helping anybody. That's not helping the team. Everybody's frustrated. We're getting blown out. Just call it what it is. We got punched in the mouth. Everybody feels that way. We talk to him. I talk to him. That's not going to do anything. That's not helping anybody. That's just spreading everybody apart. We need to be here for each other, stick with each other, and fight. Not many teams in this league are going to fight the way we did. I don't know. I'm getting really passionate, but just like every drive, we were getting blown out, and I'm like, yo, I don't care what the scoreboard is. We're going to go out there. We're going to go play our hardest. They know that I'm doing that. Going back on Chase, he's passionate, just has to learn how to control those emotions and keep them inside and know what's going to be best for the team. Johns, I think you're getting like two things there. I think you're getting why it's important for Fields to finish the game, even when everyone's saying bring him out. And you're also getting that leadership as a quarterback and calling somebody out who needed to be called out for sideline behavior in the middle of the game.
I have no problem with the outburst. I'll be honest. He should be frustrated. He missed 2 games in a row. His knee doesn't feel like itself. And he barely played today. Like, that's... You wonder what's going on there when you keep hearing he's part of the offense. They have plans for him in the offense, and then you barely see him. 4 snaps in the first half, I think Kevin Fishbane had for him. Is he healthy enough to play? Maybe that's where his frustration is rooted. Maybe he had a good rep. Maybe he was open in that one, but the offensive line can't protect Justin Fields. I'm willing to, I'm okay with the outburst, and I like what Justin Fields said about it. I'll just leave it at that.
What if on the pie chart of reasons why he wasn't playing, the playbook and understanding what's going on is actually larger than the knee? Because I think that's a fair question.
Yep.
I think if you look at how he was used early on in the game, he was basically limited to third downs. They were still having him run deep routes that required a decent knee. Like, I get if you're not 100%, you might be on a pitch count. When he was on the field, they were using him like he was healthy, though. And it's, in many ways, looked more like a package of plays rather than...
Which is probably a layered thing then. Injury and experience in the playbook.
I just think it's a little bit of all of it. And this isn't the first time we've seen this with Claypool in his career. And I just think it speaks to, again, whether it's Claypool, whether it's Brisker and Gordon, who didn't play well today, whether it's Braxton Jones, who may have had his worst game of the season.
Yeah, run over on a bad sack. Like that sack on Justin Fields where basically Braxton Jones was sacked into Justin Fields. Like that one concerns you. It's not just because of the blocking, but those are the ones where injuries happen.
Yeah. But these are players that we can't just pass it off like, oh, it's a lost season. Everything's going to magically get better next year when there's talent, more talent on the field around them.
Passing it off, though.
Well, no, I just think that I think there is this assumption out there that because they got Fields, everything.
I think everybody knows that Poles has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I don't think they realize how much work Fields still has to do, though, I guess is my point.
Which is fair.
And there were moments in this game that I 100% understand that he's under constant pressure. His offensive line played terrible. But didn't you feel like there were moments where he was still holding on to the ball?
Well, there were times I literally probably not screamed it out, but told my sons as they were watching the game, get rid of the ball. Throw the ball. Like you want to see him take some risks, have more anticipation throws, which we've been consistent on from the beginning. But I think at that point in the game, my sense of urgency for getting rid of the ball was the pressure was coming after him. That was it. Like there was one on the sideline where even the announcers were like, oh, get rid of the ball, because there was pressure closing in on him fast from behind, and eventually he noticed it and just threw it away. But him getting out, at some point for me in this game, the reps in the second half became less valuable than him escaping with injury.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign when he's got 5 sacks on him in the first half. He's getting stretched out on the sideline multiple times, and he has a visit to the injury tent, all within the first half.
Yeah.
He's getting up slowly. The replays of the hits were awkward. At some point in a blowout loss, the reps in a 2-minute situation against Lions backups are less valuable than his health.
Yeah, I think that this was a game where I could see it both ways. Like if they had pulled him, I wouldn't have been shocked, and I would have thought that it would have been defensible, as they did at the end of the Cowboys game. Remember, they took him out at the end of the Cowboys game.
Yeah.
Trevor Siemian came in late in that game.
And I think the Bears, like listening to Eberflus take me into, because you were there, like they talked about it.
Yeah.
Like
So
that risk-reward conversation was had after every possession.
Which is why me personally, why I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that as they're having those conversations and they're seeing and hearing the feedback from Fields and the players in the situation, because none of us are down there. We don't know exactly what's being discussed. That if it was that important to Fields to finish the game, I could see why they left him in there. Given too that there was an opportunity there to have a 2-minute drive with live reps that you're not going to get again until next season. You can't even get that in the preseason.
Yeah, I think this is where this is a very delicate conversation, because I know exactly what you're saying. You're not benching players that could play, right?
Yeah.
You need to, like, I'm not saying if Fields is 100%, he should not play. But in this game, there was obviously some issue. Like last game, he came out because his shoulder was bothering him. He's got his foot stepped on. Like things are happening to him.
Yeah.
Those are things you want to avoid. I get that he needs to play to get better, but you got to make sure he can play in the offseason and training camp and not rehabbing some sort of injury.
Yeah, that's fair. I get it. Yeah. And maybe chasing some great, like, let's just say hypothetically he hits Velus Jones for like a 60-yard touchdown there late. That's a great moment to build on, but is chasing a moment like that worth an injury? I get it. I get it. I get it both ways. And I'm just not totally on board with this idea of sitting him. Same thing next week. I guess I get it if they decide to do that. It certainly doesn't sound like they're going to, based on what Eberflus said today. But I also see the value of continuing to play him.
Yeah. See, I'm fully on board. If he's healthy, he plays. Like, I understand that. Like today, no problem with him playing in the first half. No problem with him running the ball. But circumstances change.
Sure.
Situations change. Your quarterback is getting stretched out on the sideline. He's having a tough time getting the ball out of his hands. The pressure is in his face quickly.
I just think that part of the reasoning for all that can't just be, the offensive line. Like,
Fields has to get rid of the ball.
Like even that play where he got stripped from behind, like,
get it out. Yeah, throw it away.
You got to sense that someone's coming.
Yeah.
Right?
He's looking for something that isn't there out there.
Yeah.
I mean, what is he, 7 for 21 or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was like 30 net passing yards when you include all the sacks.
All
It's
sack
just
yardage.
terrible. I think it's good that they were discussing pulling him, and I think you guys kind of have to trust that.
But that's not performance-based. That's like game situation-based, and that's a long-term decision-based type of conversation you're having.
Right, which is I guess I'm just happy that they were at least having those conversations.
Yes, which is
yeah.
It is a unique situation. You almost like part of you hopes that like at some point, again, if he's healthy, he's healthy. But like maybe another young leader goes, you know what? He's good. Ryan, Matt, our quarterback's good. Like, can we like they think about next year too? They think about injury.
I guess my point is I would feel better about just calling it a season if he was consistently showing the same growth in the passing game that he's shown being a running weapon. You know what I mean? Like, I understand why they're continuing to try to squeeze out as much from the season as they possibly can. I'll give you an example. I took some heat on Twitter in the middle of the game because third down incompletion he had to Byron Pringle, where he didn't even give him a chance to catch the ball. There was a blitz coming off the edge, which he saw pre-snap. He set the protection correctly. And Khalil Herbert responsibility was to pick up the blitz. Basically deflected the blitz a little bit, but it really wasn't a great blitz pickup. And Fields had to unload the ball quickly. But the throw didn't give his receiver even a chance to catch it. It was a foul ball basically out of bounds. And my point there was part of growth in the National Football League is understanding your windows aren't as big as you think they are. We've talked about this before. If you're waiting till someone comes open, it's already too late in most situations. And also understanding that when you know a blitz is coming, you have to be prepared, even if you think it's picked up from a numbers standpoint, to deliver a pass that at least gives your receiver a chance. I'm not saying it needs to be a strike, an incredible throw that gets caught. Just at least put it in a position where the wide receiver can catch it. I don't think you could take all the blame off Fields in all these situations is all I'm saying.
Well, to use Fields' own criticism of his own play, one thing he's been consistent on, I think, for a number of weeks now, is getting to his check down quicker.
Yeah.
Where he should have that internal clock going where he sees number one, number two, even number one, based on how things are unfolding for the Bears. Number one's not there, maybe get to the check down. So he's now 1-2 run in some instances. I think you saw that a couple times, but he's been, again, consistent where I got to get to my check down quicker. Take those 5 or 6 yards that the running back can get you, tight end, what have you, and move on. He's learning how to do that in Luke Getsy's offense. It's probably been more painful than you'd want it to be, but that's where he has to grow. He has said that multiple times himself for a number of weeks now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there was examples of that today. And at the same time, guys weren't getting open at all. I mean, the wide receivers today were brutal. So it's all of the above. It's okay to be all of the above. We also have to acknowledge the fact that he's not a finished project. And so
anybody's saying he is, though.
Yeah, but I think then you have to be understanding that the coaches want to get out every rep they possibly can from the regular season because they know he's not a finished project and they're trying to develop him, and he can't develop if he's just sitting on the bench.
Well, I think you can't develop him either if he's rehabbing an injury. I think that's part of the conversation. It should be included, and it was included today, obviously, because Justin Fields wasn't close to being himself. Like, you can't develop if you're not playing, right? I understand that. So what's more valuable right now? Week 18 reps against the Minnesota Vikings or year 2 training camp with Luke Getsy and Chase Claypool as your receiver and Darnell Mooney and maybe another free agency target with a brand new left tackle. Like, where are those more valuable snaps than the ones you're going to get against the Vikings next week?
That's tough because they're not game reps.
How valuable are game reps when you're down 21 points?
Well, that's not the question you asked.
That's
Though.
what I mean.
You asked the Vikings game next week.
Okay, what if they're down
Yeah.
21 points? Because apparently after getting their butts kicked by the Packers, they're going to have something to play for next week.
Yeah, Jesus, this is bad. Justin Jefferson, if you could get one catch, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Fantasy talk. My son feels the same.
It's brutal. Who's getting? He's getting a. I don't know if he has one now, but at least at the start of the podcast, it's a goose egg. Terrible. No, and that's why I'm with you. I'm with you that games change within games. I think I'm just overall pretty disappointed at the offense. I thought this was going to be a day where it looked more like the first time they played the Lions,
which was a very good game.
Which is one of those games where you come away and you feel really good about Fields' growth, and that didn't happen today. So,
well, he still had like similar rushing yards, but the passing yards at Soldier Field were significantly better.
Yeah, and I thought it started out okay, like hitting Komet on that touchdown, and there just wasn't enough of it.
Well, to use what the Bears are saying, I will say this: there is value in seeing the adjustments that the Lions made against them in this one.
Yeah,
like especially the first half, like those reps. I'll give you the first half reps in terms of him seeing something that was different against a similar opponent, which was he only saw like less than 2 months ago, November 13th or something like that.
Yeah, and Braxton Jones did say they were doing different stuff up front.
Yes. I can't remember the name of the pass rusher that basically ran him over into Justin Fields, but he's a better player now. Like Aiden Hutchinson's a better player now.
I think you're thinking of James Houston.
Is that the rookie from Jackson State?
Yeah, he's a good player.
Good pick.
Yeah, he's come out really strong for the Lions. So, and that's another reason why these reps matter, right? Like, there's another, even for Braxton Jones' perspective, these are the guys you got to learn and study and play against. So I just think it's a little bit more nuanced. Anyway,
it is nuanced. It is.
Can we talk about that play at the end of the first half?
I thought it was just, I don't know what that was. Even Justin said that was just whatever. Throw the ball away.
Said he should have thrown the ball away, but it was a little confusing because Cole Kmet gave us a pretty good description of what the play was supposed to be.
What was it?
Well,
an interception to Aiden Hutchinson?
It was supposed to be a pitch back to Justin Fields after he threw it. So, like, you complete a short, almost like a hook and ladder back to the quarterback, I think is what he was trying to describe. Yeah. I meant to look this up before we started. What was the exact situation again? Because this is where I was confused with what Eberflus said. All right. So it's 7 seconds left at Detroit's 45. So Flus kind of said you're trying to get in the field goal range there, which would make sense. You don't have any timeouts, but that would just be like the only way you can get in the field goal range would be like a quick out of bounds. Anything else, you're screwed.
And they put like their defensive ends literally on the line of scrimmage, but guarding the quick outs.
Right. And they dropped like 8. Now, what Cole Kmet said was like they were trying to run this. What Cole Kmet described came off more of like they're trying to, instead of throwing deep for a Hail Mary, you're trying like the trick play to get a lateral to the right guy, and he finds. So just the explanations on the two. My guess is Flus was trying to just protect scheme. The play was so bad, it's like they didn't even run it, right? So like it's not on tape. And so I don't know if he was just trying to protect it. But
well, neither is the Riley Reef out route in the end zone.
Yeah, Jesus. That didn't work either. Anyway, they dropped 11. Fields said they weren't expecting that. Flus said they were. It's just bad. Throw the ball away. if they sniffed out a play, just throw the ball away. That's another example. Like, what if that gets returned for a touchdown? It's brutal.
Well, he said it himself. I'm not going to hold that one against them.
I'm not either. Just more so the whole thing not working. It's just, I don't know. It's like the offense is really stalled out here. And I get it. I got it in past weeks, but today you were relatively healthy, although Tevin Jenkins went out really fast.
Yeah, you don't like seeing that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jonathan Vilma, who was watching the game, what did he say? I texted this to the fish man during the game. Where is it? He thought the Bears offense looked checked out. I think he said that early third quarter.
They seem to lack urgency, I'll say, after what happened in the first half. So,
where is it? I don't know where it is. But he said something like that during this game. If you're watching or listening, you know what I'm talking about.
How's your boy Kirk Cousins doing?
You're just looking at John's comment here and
oh, this is so sad. Just checking. No, still no catches, I think. I don't know. No. Good job, Kirk. Way to come through. I think he's probably just heard all my criticism and now he's taking it out on me.
He's playing that way.
It's a personal affront at me, I think is how I'm reading.
So the Vikings, it looks like right now, as we talk, they're going to have a lot to play for.
Yeah.
So if they win next week and the Eagles lose, would that mean they get the number 1 seed?
No, they had to win both games to get the number 1 seed.
Oh, so they have nothing to play for tomorrow.
No, because the 3 seed would still be up.
Okay.
The 2 versus 3.
2 versus 3 seed. Okay.
Which it doesn't matter as much as it used to because it doesn't come with the first round bye, but it would be the difference between guaranteeing hosting a divisional round game or potentially having to go west to San Francisco.
And if you're the Vikings and you play in a beautiful indoor stadium like that, hello, Kevin Warren, I think, yeah, something to play for.
Yeah. All right. By the way, we haven't really talked about Kevin Warren, but maybe we do a big show on that on Tuesday or something.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we badly need the season to end. But whatever you can squeeze out of next week, I still would try to do at the risk of injury. I get it, everyone. So at least the Vikings will have something to play for because
like my argument would be if it's like 28-0. If you want to play Fields, that's fine. I understand why. And I get the value in playing him. But at some point, those snaps don't equal escaping and getting into your offseason with better health.
Sure. Yeah, I get it. All right. Well, follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns, and you can read me at allchgo.com. Read Johnsy on The Athletic, theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns. Kevin Fishbane as well. He's here in Detroit. He'll have post-game coverage up there. Make sure you are subscribed. And, well, we'll be back Tuesday. Dive a little bit more into Kevin Warren. I think that's a good idea. And in the meantime, obviousshirts.com is where all the merch is. Check that out. That's all we got.
We're both rocking Under Armour today.
We are. I put the tie back on for game day. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Felt good, you know. Live reps, they're important, Johns, even when you're in Detroit in a blowout.
Your live reps.
My live reps. That's what I'm talking about now. Got to, refreshen up on the old skills here.
Yeah, there you go.
Now I got to go finish writing.
Happy New Year, buddy.
That's right. It is New Year. I almost forgot about that. I was too busy watching football last night to even notice the clock hit midnight.
Great games.
Yeah. All right, we're back Tuesday. Talk to you then.
Happy New Year. See ya.